Alright guys, hope you're doing well. This is Rowlands here and I'm a nutritional balancing practitioner. And in this video I want to give you guys some tips basically on how to be inspired, how to have hope, how to feel more connected to God, how to discern the truth, how to feel more passionate, fired up. And this is basically probably one of the most amazing things that I have done on my journey, especially sort of for feeling more connected to God and just figuring out what the hell's going on basically. And that is to basically listen to and study near-death experiences. And I'd listened to a couple in the past and was quite overwhelmed by them, but I think what's really fascinating is that if you listen to a lot of them, you'll begin to see trends, you'll begin to, even to a certain extent, know what's actually coming up, because most people experience everyone's experience is different, but most people experience basically similar things. And what this means is obviously quite a few things. One of the things it means is that there's something else out there, because that's the first question that people have, is what's going off. The Bible's usually the first place to go for most people when they're trying to get in touch with spirituality and understanding God and all that sort of stuff. But one of the gifts we've been given in the 21st century is the gift of the internet and the gift of connection information. And this has meant that people who have had experiences like this get to show it to the world, basically. And so I personally think this is even a step up from the Bible. I'm not saying don't read the Bible. I'm halfway through the Bible now. It's a fantastic book, and you can generate and discern a lot from it. But the difference with the near-death experiences is that they're more real. They're based in the 20th century, the 21st century. You can hear them in modern language, and it makes you understand that there's been an evolution with our connection to God, and you can see that from looking at the Old Testament and the New Testament. And I think that there's an evolution still going, and I think this is part of the evolution, is being able to get even closer to God. You don't need to go and sit in a monastery for 50 years or read the Bible from page to page, from cover to cover 10 times or whatever. Now you can listen to these experiences from direct people and hear direct, powerful testimonies, and it's amazing. So and you often, more times than not, 9 times out of 10 will come away from listening to a near-death experience and just think, wow. You get a deeper understanding of who God is, you get a deeper understanding of what this life's all about, and more appreciation. It gives you hope, you feel more connected, you feel like you've got a purpose, etc, etc, etc. So some of the things that you'll see for yourself the more you listen to these experiences is a few things. The first one is that usually people go through some sort of tunnel, some sort of white tunnel. Then usually they'll experience God, sometimes they'll experience Jesus, and the experience is always completely overwhelming. Just the love, the embrace, the peace is something that they cannot explain. They know it's God. Some people are atheists, some people are Christians. I've heard Buddhist testimonies, Muslim testimonies, and you begin to understand God much more. It's not some judgmental, wrathful God. He always comes as pure love. There's no judgment there. In fact, what's interesting about these testimonies is that often people will see their life review, which is interesting because we hear about this stuff in modern life anyway. The tunnel of death. I saw my life flash before my eyes. Well, people actually experience this, and they will see their life from cover to cover, basically in an instant. What's interesting about this is they'll see, everything. And what they basically say in hundreds of testimonies is that it doesn't matter how wealthy they were, it doesn't matter how much they've accumulated, it doesn't matter, how many cars they got. What really mattered was the little acts of kindness which made people feel better about themselves, where you did something out of the goodness of your own heart and sort of gave people more love. And the negative things were when you took that away from someone, when you said something that was nasty, and you also saw and felt how the other individual felt when you did a certain act. And the judgment doesn't come from God, it's actually you judging yourself, of like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. It's pretty, it's a pretty horrendous thing to sort of see. So, that's fascinating, because what I'm trying to say is, if you're dead or you're having hallucinations, people wouldn't have, everyone's hallucinations would be completely different. People always say when they have these experiences that, they've had dreams, they've had hallucinations in the past. What they experience is more real than anything they can possibly imagine. Some people have see great grandparents and great grandparents that they've never seen before, and then they look at pictures when they've come back. Some people go to heaven, and a few things that I can say from the experiences in heaven is that people always say that the plants were completely alive, like shining light. The grass was shining light, and up there it was peaceful. A lot of greenery, which I think is stuff like this is important about healing on earth. Getting out in nature. Other things are people can tell the doctors and the nurses what was going off in the next room, for example, because some people don't go directly to this other realm. They can sort of travel around on the earth for a bit, and just to sort of say to people, it's proof that this is not a hallucination, because these individuals can tell what was going off in the next room. They can tell what the person was wearing, they can tell what procedures they was doing, and apparently this person was basically brain dead in the other room. So this proves that these things are not hallucinations. Now, what I would say to anyone really, but particularly those people that are wanting to find God or wanting to seek, are wanting hope, to go and listen to these. So a good YouTube channel, my favourite YouTube channel on this, is called NDE. So it's the initials of Near Death Experience. NDE Radio, and it's a guy runs it called Lee Whitting, and he's got hundreds of them on there. One thing that I personally want to do is to try and create a database of these that is a little bit more in depth with the categories. I think that would be a good gift to the world. But anyway, if you could sit and really listen to each one, I don't think it's one of them things that you should listen to sort of on the fly. I mean, you can do, but I usually find if you listen, really listen, and especially the parts when God's speaking, you're very, very inspired. And then once you sort of finish listening, the energy that you've built up, the vibration that you built up from listening to these experiences, you'll actually find God starts moving in your life much more easier. And I think a lot of it's because you're so inspired. You can feel the love, you can feel the testimonies, you can feel how God is and how God's relating to these people. And when you come back into the world from your 20 minutes of whatever lying down listening to these testimonies, it just gives you a massive amount of inspiration and makes you realise that you're not alone. It makes you realise that there is a God out there, and I think this is a great foundation for then sort of reading the Bible and going into other things, because that can be a bit of a minefield. You know, the good thing about this is it's just you and the audio, you know, listening to modern day people. There's no conjecture, you know, there's no preachers sort of saying this and saying that. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it's very personal, and I think that's great. So hope that helps for anyone that's struggling and for anyone in general.